In the twilight of the Age of Ashen Crowns, when the mountains of Eldergast still wore veils of mist, and the old stones whispered names no longer spoken, there lay a hamlet so small, it appeared only on the maps drawn by grandmothers in their dying dreams. There, beneath the shadow of the slow mountains, a boy named Nathan lived with his mother, in a cottage whose thatch had grown thinner than hope itself. Nathan was not a hero. Not yet. He was simply a son, who rose before dawn to split frost-laced firewood, who carried water from the frozen spring, in birch buckets that leaked more than they held. His mother, Lady Alara, once the wife of a knight who never returned from the Eastern Wars, had raised him on lullabies of vanished honor, and bedtime stories of mercy shown to the undeserving. Though her hands were raw from nettles, and her eyes dim from weeping, she had taught Nathan to bow to no cruelty, and to speak no lie, even when hunger gnawed like wolves inside their bellies. Some nights, the hearth stood cold. Other nights, a single tallow candle guttered until it wept itself asleep. Yet neither mother nor son ever cursed the dark. Instead, they pressed their palms together and whispered thanks to the silent star, oldest witness of the weary. But winter that year arrived earlier than grief. Villagers, though still able to walk, began vanishing down the western road, chasing rumors of harvests in distant valleys, where the sun supposedly remembered its duty. One dusk, Nathan watched their silhouettes cross the ridge, a ragged caravan of hunger-lean men and hollow-eyed women, leading horses whose ribs gleamed like broken harps. That night, Nathan could not sleep. The wind clawed the shutters. The moon hung like a cracked coin overhead. He stared at the ceiling, until the beam seemed to bend under the weight of his thoughts. If I remain, we die by inches. If I leave, she dies of loneliness. When the cock crowed, he still had not closed his eyes, yet his decision was made. He knelt beside his mother's pallet. "Mother," he breathed, "let me seek our fortune beyond the veil. I will return before the first snowdrop blooms. I swear upon father's sword hilt." Lady Alara's fingers, slender as willow twigs, found his cheek. Tears, saltier than the broth they could not afford, slipped into the hollows of her collarbone. "My only star," she murmured. "The world is a forest of spears. Promise you will walk the narrow path. No theft, no oath-binding to dark lords, no wine that tastes of forgetting." Nathan pressed her palm to his lips. "I will wear your virtue like armor." At dawn, he filled a canvas satchel, 3 stale barley cakes, a leather flask of melted snow, the psalter his mother had sewn from scraps of altar cloth, and 7 wrinkled dates she had saved since his naming day. He refused the family signet, pewter shaped like a sleeping wolf, fearing robbers. Instead, she tied a crimson thread around his wrist, 9 knots for 9 wards of protection. Outside, frost silvered the meadow. His mount, an aging mare named Thistle, waited, her breath rising in pale banners. Nathan swung up, swallowed the ache in his throat, and turned once more. His mother stood upon the threshold, framed by darkness, right hand lifted in the ancient blessing of parting. She looked small enough to fit inside his memory forever. He rode west, hooves drumming across the frozen heath, following the caravan ruts that scarred the earth like runes. Yet when he reached Oldstone Well, the crossroads marked by a single standing stone older than grief, he found only silence. The merchants had departed at moonset. Their tracks pointed toward the Ashen Pass, a week's ride even for hardy steeds. Nathan was alone. Behind him, the morning sun spilled over the slow mountains, gilding the peaks, yet leaving the valley in violet shadow. Ahead, the world yawned, trackless, white, and humming with secrets no boy had ever survived to tell. He touched the red thread at his wrist, whispered his mother's name like a prayer, and urged Thistle forward, into the vastness where legends are sharpened, or swallowed whole. Thus begins the tale of the boy who would one day stand before the shadow-sealed throne of Aldoria, bearing a blade forged from mercy, and a heart broken exactly enough to let the light in. Nathan did not turn back. To return would be to break his mother's heart a second time, when she saw the failure in his eyes. So he pressed on, the hooves of his mare Thistle crunching over frostbitten ruts that scarred the plain like the ribs of some colossal, starved beast. 2 suns rose and set without shade, and the wind carried the smell of distant pine fires, and something older, iron, perhaps, or blood. On the 3rd dawn, he sighted a lone figure trudging ahead, a hooded man whose staff clicked against stones with every step. Nathan hailed him. "Well met, traveler. Do you walk toward fortune, or away from it?" The stranger lifted his face, weather-worn, smiling too widely, toward the city once called Gladuriel, the Laughing City. Now men name it Morn Hollow, City of Sighs. "I am Brother Nathan, pilgrim of lost causes." Nathan's pulse leapt. Gladuriel lay 3 days west, rumor-rich, trade-heavy, the very place a clever youth might carve a future. He offered Nathan the saddle's rear. The man accepted with a bow that seemed almost theatrical. They rode together, beneath a sky the color of tarnished pewter. Nathan spoke little, but when he did, his voice rang like a bell cast from false silver, bright yet hollow. At noon, when their tongues clove to their palates, he pointed toward a circle of standing stones. "A well lies within, sweet and deep. We shall drink there." The well was indeed deep, a throat of black marble sunk into the earth. No bucket, no crank, only a frayed hemp rope coiled like a sleeping viper. Nathan volunteered to descend first. He slid into the darkness. The rope sighed over the lip. A soft splash rose, then silence. Moments later, the rope jerked twice. Nathan's turn. He climbed down, palms burning, until cold water kissed his boots. He cupped the liquid, silver as moonlight, and drank. Above, the rope whisked away like a startled adder. A peal of laughter, Nathan's, echoed, shrinking with the drum of departing hooves. "Brother Nathan!" Nathan shouted, voice ricocheting off stone. "This is a jest." "Yes." "Toss the rope." "My arms cramp." The answer was the wind, colder than any water. Then even that faded, leaving only the drip of subterranean tears. Nathan sagged against the curved wall. Hunger gnawed. Thirst returned twofold. He cursed his own trusting heart, until exhaustion pressed him into uneasy sleep. Midnight. Laughter again. Female. Layered. Drifting like poison honey. Nathan jerked awake. Far above, the well mouth framed 3 silhouettes. Cloaked women perched upon the rim, as though gravity were a suggestion. The first spoke, voice crackling like green wood. "Know you why King Aldrich bleeds within his own palace?" I crept in cat shape across his banquet board. He bade his steward strike me with an iron ladle. For that insult, I sowed a sleeping sickness in his veins. Let his physicians puzzle. Beast fodder cures the sons of men. 7 draughts of oatgrass and clover. Dawn and dusk. The second witch laughed, brittle as shattered crystal. And I crippled the Princess Seraphine. Stole the dawn from her eyes. She once hurled stones at a sparrow that sang too shrilly beneath her window. Now she shall see only darkness, until the stones weep sap, and are ground into crimson earth for 7 nights. The third leaned forward. Starlight glinted upon a dagger-shaped pendant. Beneath the eastern spur of Eldergast lies a vault of star iron coin. Sacrifice a bull at the mountain's elbow. Give its meat to the poor. The gate will yawn like a lover. Yet mortals forget that generosity unlocks greed's own door. Their laughter braided into the night wind and drifted away. Nathan, heart hammering, engraved every word upon the tablet of his mind. These are not curses, he realized, but keys. If a man is brave enough to turn them. Dawn bled slowly into the shaft. A caravan of merchants, House Grimsby's wool wagons, drew water. Their bucket descended. Nathan clutched it fast, hauling him up. The drovers crossed themselves, half expecting a wraith. He told them only that robbers had left him for dead, omitting the witches and their gifts. They fed him hard cheese and small beer. offered coin for luck, and invited him to ride with them. Yes, toward Morn Hollow. For days later, the city rose into view. Alabaster domes dulled by sorrow, banners of black silk drooping from crooked poles. The streets smelled of camphor and candle smoke. Shop shutters were nailed closed like blinded eyes. In the square, an executioner's block stood idle, its axe red with rust rather than blood. Violence itself had grown bored here. Nathan found lodging at the Sign of the Starving Stag, where the innkeeper served lentil broth thin enough to read scripture through. When asked why the city mourned, the man replied, "Our king sleeps as though embalmed alive. His daughter, the light of every dawn procession, is blind and bedbound. Gold flows to charlatans. Trade withers. We are rich only in size." Nathan felt the three keys turn within him: beast fodder for the king, clay and leaf for the princess, blood and charity for the mountain's vault. He pressed palms together, hiding a tremor that might have been fear or hope. That night, he dreamed of his mother standing upon Eldergast's highest ridge, her hair white as new ash, calling his name across valleys packed with starlight. When he woke, the crimson thread upon his wrist had darkened to the color of old wine. Word of the stranger's question rippled through the tavern like wind over still water. "Has no cure availed them?" Nathan asked again. The innkeeper, an ex-crusader whose left ear was a cauterized stub, laughed until his beard trembled. "Leeches from Val Royeaux, barbers from Dunwich, alchemists who swore they could distill dawnlight. Every charlatan left poorer, and the palace none the richer. King Aldrich has barred the gates to healers." The last mountebank was flung from the Moongate into the gorge. Nathan spent 3 days walking the alleys of Morn Hollow, cloak drawn tight, ears open. He heard the same refrain: "The king sleeps like a corpse that forgets to die. The Princess Seraphine is blind and bedridden. The treasury bleeds gold for naught. Markets shuttered by noon. Children played only at funerals." On the fourth dawn, he entered the herb quarter. From a crone whose eyes were milked by cataract, he bought dried clover, bruised barley, red mountain loam, and sun-withered bay leaves. He paid with a silver stag stamped by his mother's village mint. His last coin. The crone sniffed the metal and muttered, "Blood scent lingers on this. Keep your purpose clean, boy." Thus armed, Nathan walked to the Moongate Palace. 7 concentric walls of alabaster veined with lapis, each gate manned by silent eunuchs in lamellar coats of gold. The outer ward smelled of myrrh and fear. "I seek audience," he told the captain of the guard, helmet tucked beneath his arm like a begging bowl. "I offer cure without fee. If I fail, let the headsman hone his axe on my neck." The captain's eyes were the gray of winter steel. "Many have promised. Their bones pave the moat." Yet something in the youth's quiet gaze, an ember of certainty, moved him. He sent word to Chancellor Lord Godwin, a hawk-nosed man who had buried 3 fortunes and 4 wives in service to the throne. Godwin received Nathan in the Hall of Tears, a vault where mirrors were draped in black, so the palace might never see its own reflection. "Speak, rustic," the chancellor said. "But no, if your tongue is sugar-coated poison, your corpse will fertilize the palace gardens." Nathan inclined his head. "My lord, I require only fodder and clay, clover juice and barley water for his majesty, earth and poultice for her highness. 7 days, no more." Aldrich himself, when carried in upon a litter of ivory and sighs, rasped the same suspicion. "Another jackal to pick the bones of my reign? I am no jackal," Nathan answered, kneeling. "I am the shepherd's son who learned that grass can purge a poisoned wolf." He proffered the clay cup, green fragrance rising like spring after siege. The king drank. Courtiers crossed themselves. Astrologers scribbled frantic horoscopes. Day 1, no change. Day 2, color crept into imperial cheeks. By the 7th dawn, Aldrich walked unaided to the moon balcony, ropes billowing, voice ringing across courtyards. "The light returns." Trumpets sang. Bells coughed rust from their throats. Yet Nathan was already kneeling at Seraphine's door. The princess lay upon a bed carved from single moonstone, curtains drawn against a world she could no longer witness. Her hair, once compared to raven shot with sunrise, spread like spilled ink. Nathan warmed the red clay in his palms, anointed her limbs, and whispered charms older than the tongue he spoke them in. Over her sightless eyes, he ground dried bay into coal, tracing the sigil of the Star of Dawns. On the seventh night, Seraphine stirred. Curtains parted though no hand touched them. She sat, feet finding slippers, and spoke to darkness that shattered like glass. I see the candle's halo. The palace erupted. Aldrich wept openly, something no king had done since the realm was forged. Name your reward, he commanded. Half my crown, my fleet, the rubies that once graced the petal throne of far Cadria. Nathan bowed. Grant me only a feast held beneath the elbow ridge of Eldergast, where mountain meets meadow, and let a bull be slaughtered there. Its meat given to every widow and orphan who still believes tomorrow may remember their names. Aldrich's brow furrowed. But oaths are sacred. Preparations began. The day dawned gold and trumpet clean. Processions wound through streets once more alive. Jugglers, oud players, girls scattering rose petals from silver baskets. Nathan rode beside the king. Seraphine, veiled in sky-blue silk, stole glances at him, as though sight itself were a shy creature newly returned to her eyes. At Elbow Ridge, the very stone armpit of the mountain, Nathan lifted the ritual blade. The bull's blood steamed upon frostbitten grass. Its meat was carved and distributed, until even the beggar's fingers gleamed with fat. Then the earth shuddered. A slab of mountainside, veined with mica, groaned aside like a tomb door yawning at resurrection. From the revealed throat poured coins of ancient stamped gold, goblets of starlight quartz, and ingots pale as moonbones. Gasps swept the crowd. Some fell to their knees, certain the mountain itself had given dowry. Aldrich turned to Nathan, eyes bright with awe and calculation. This hoard could ransom 10 kingdoms. Yet you offer it to my people. Let it rebuild Morn Hollow into Gladuriel once more. Nathan replied, a realm is wealthy only when its poorest child sleeps without hunger carving dreams from his skull. The king clasped the youth's shoulders. Then take my final treasure, my daughter's hand. Rule after me with the same mercy that healed our wounds. Seraphine lifted her veil. In her gaze shimmered not mere gratitude, but recognition, as though she had seen him once before in the country of shadows, and chosen him there. Nathan's heart swelled, until it threatened to crack his ribs like flawed steel. Yet one oath remained. He petitioned the king for riders to escort a lone woman from a distant mountain hamlet. His mother, Lady Alara. Within a fortnight, she arrived upon a litter cushioned with ermine, weeping unashamed as bells rang across resurgent markets. She pressed her son's head to her breast, and whispered, the silent star kept its promise. Wedding festivities lasted 9 days. Banners of emerald and argent fluttered where black had drooped. Minstrels composed ballads of the healer king that was no king. And every evening, Nathan walked the ramparts. Red thread still knotted at his wrist, listening to the city's newfound laughter rise like larks. Far away, beneath a moon long since turned traitor, Brother Nathan, the foot traveler who had once stolen horse and hope, heard the tale. Greed kindled where conscience had never taken root. The well, he muttered. If the boy learned secrets there, so may I. He retraced the caravan route, found the standing stones, and at twilight lowered himself into the same throat of marble. Midnight approached. The witches arrived upon owl wings, and laughter of cracked bells. They sensed eavesdropping ears, and seized Nathan as wolves seize a hare. Neither his pleas nor counterfeit prayers availed. Some say they dragged him into the hollow hills where time drips backward. Others that they planted him like a thorn bush at the well's bottom, roots feeding on his own venomous heart. Whatever the truth, he never emerged, and travelers now hurry past that place, claiming they hear a man's voice pleading from stone, an echo that learns no mercy. Nathan ruled for 40 years. He minted no coin bearing his own face. but struck metals showing clover, clay, and a bull's horn circled by stars. He judged no man without first sharing bread, and every harvest he led caravans of grain to the elbow ridge, where widows still received meat, and children danced around fires bright enough to shame the night. Thus the shepherd's son became Nathan the Merciful, first of the house of Wellborn, whose line bore ever after a single motto: as the root trusts the dark, so the crown trusts the people.